By enhancing your skills and assessing your clients according to their facial features, not only will it make you stand out as an artist, but it will keep your clients coming back for sets over and over because they trust that you'll customize lashes that look great for their specific facial features. Let's begin. Now, we're going to move into mapping our client and styling her eye. So remember the lines we did earlier, we're just going to follow them. What I like to do is get the back of my tweezer and kind of just follow my lines that I made. And repeat the same on the other side. Remember, right now I'm just following the lines I made before I get into my mapping. Now that I've drawn my lines out, I have my mapping. Remember, this is my center, this is my inner corner, and this is my outer corner. Okay, so we know that this client wants something natural, but for everyday wear. She is not petite, but not a big girl. She's in the middle, average size. She has a very decent, proportionate facial frame. So because we know we have quite a bit of lid space here, and we know we want to create a doll eye shape with more of an open eye effect, we're going to put our longest length in the center. So here, I want to do something around 13 millimeters because I know that's not too long, but not too short, and it's perfectly balanced for her facial structure. Now I'm going to drop down one number because I want to give the effect of a doll eye. So in order to give that effect, we need to drop down a number. So instead of putting a 12 here, we're going to put an 11 and then a 10 here. We put an 11 here because we really want to emphasize number 13. And then here on the other side, we'll repeat the same thing. We're going to do 11, 10, and then 9 right here. Right here, we're not adding a 9 because we don't want to taper it downward. We want to lift upward. But here, we're adding a 9 because we're trying to taper it to emphasize her inner corners. Now we repeat the same process on the other side. And remember, this is just our top layer. Once you have your top layer done, now based off of what our client said, she said she wanted something natural for everyday wear. She's not too worried about airiness or dramaticness. Because I know how she likes her lashes, I'm just going to go 2 numbers down because we don't want to be too dramatic nor too natural, but we want to give it a little bit of texture and emphasis and wispiness. So I'm going to drop 2 numbers from each of these numbers. So for example, we're going to do a 10 under the 13, a 9 under the 11, and 8 under the 10. Repeat the same thing on the other side. I help lash artists get unstuck and actually make money doing what they love. If that's you and you're ready to work together, there's a link in my description box where you can apply. Before we continue lashing, because I want to lash in layers and I want to introduce to you layers and how to identify your client's layers, I'm going to demonstrate with using tape. When it comes to layering, it's important to understand your top layer, your middle layer, and your bottom layer. So here, if you lift up her eye and you run your tweezers towards the first layer, you'll be able to identify the top layer. As you can see, lashes are like stairs. You see how there's one right here? That's a top layer. And then there's another lash right here. That's your middle layer. And then there's another one all the way down here. That's your bottom layer. So this client has 3 different lash layers. And in order to get really pretty wispy sets and very non-uniform sets, you need to lash in layers and understand your client's lash layers. So an easy way to do that is I'll grab a piece of tape and do it a couple times so you don't pull your client's natural lashes. Okay, in order to identify your layers, this is a great taping technique that you can use to pull out the top layer so you're only lashing this layer. So go ahead and with your tweezer ever so gently, remember you want to be gently, start pulling out lashes. And you may ask yourself, well, how many lashes do I pull out? Pull out the whole top layer. The more, the better. When creating layers and lashing in layers, don't be scared of adding as many lashes as you can to the top layer, because this is the area that's going to either make it or break it. So pull out as many as you can. You don't have to count them. Just ensure that whatever you pull out on one side, you pull out the same on the other side. Remember, just be gentle. Don't rush this process. That looks pretty nice. I like how many lashes I see out and how many lashes are exposed. This I'm going to identify as my top layer. As you can see, I am done with my top layer. Before removing these tapes, I want to brush it through and ensure that my top layer looks nice and pretty to the way I want it to look overall. Because remember, this is how your shape is going to end up looking. So if you like the shape that you create on your top layer, your overall lash look will come out looking stunning. So regardless if you're using the taping technique or you're just applying lashes without the taping techniques, I always recommend you to start off with creating your shape. So here I have my shape very well defined and I'm checking it with my mirror and everything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove these tapes and go in and fill in my remaining layers with medium to wide fans. So I'm going to mix it in. Remember, I just pickups here where I just picked up a few hairs. I didn't count them. I just kind of eyeballed it. I wanted to do thin hair pickups, not too thick. Remember, you always want to be gentle. Let's remove the tapes. Make sure that none of the lash extensions are stuck to the tape as well. Your tape, just put it in the back of your hand. Don't get rid of it because you'll probably use it later. Go ahead and grab your spoolie and brush them through. This is just going to push them all together and blend them, and that way you can see a lot better. Repeat the same thing on the other side. Our lash set is coming along. You always want to brush. Don't over brush. You don't need to brush every couple minutes. I like to brush every time I'm going to transition from another step. So in this case, we're going to transition to filling them in. Now I'm going to teach you how to isolate with having a bunch of lashes already there. Remember how we hold our tweezers, closed tweezers. I like to come in towards the bottom and kind of, with my tweezer flat, pulling these lashes. Actually, with my tweezer kind of a little forward, I'll come in underneath the lashes and pull the extensions back. And then I'll try to find a natural lash that I can put my isolation tweezer with. So you see how I isolated that? Let's try that one more time. You can push to the side and find a natural lash by itself and isolate like that. But this one, as you can see, it's not fully by itself. We want to make sure it's 100% by itself like that. You can kind of like weave it in. Same thing, come from the bottom, scoop up, and try to find a natural lash that you can isolate. You see how that goes? Remember this, you can pull it a little bit closer so it can really hold your isolation. Don't be scared to get in there. Repeat the same process one more time. Like that. Like this. And now I'm going to dip it into my glue. I'm going to close the base because I want to snatch and make sure it's nice and skinny. And come in and attach it to my natural lash. Press down and wiggle it ever so slightly so it can wrap around and get attached to the natural lash. Push the natural lash a little upward, wait a few seconds before releasing, and release. And now you never want to lash the next lash over. You want to kind of move around because if you do, you can cause stickies and we want to avoid that. So go ahead and isolate your next section. Right here, we're gonna isolate. And as I can see, there's a 9 that belongs there. So I'll grab a little 9. Remember, your fans don't have to be perfect because natural lashes are not perfect. So you can mix and match them. When creating a fan, you're gonna use your pinky as a balancer and place it on your lash tray. Grab the tip of your tweezer, open it ever so slightly, and pull a little thick chunk of lashes. Pull them halfway away from the strip. Don't fully remove it, just ever so slightly. You still want the extensions on the strip. So you're gonna get something like this. Now with the tip of your tweezers, closed tweezers, you're gonna come and shimmy the base. You're pulling apart and it's gonna create an open fan. So from there, you're gonna open your tweezer, come at an angle, still you're using your pinky down. You're gonna come, this section of your tweezer is gonna be facing right here. So you're gonna open and squeeze and pull towards you. And now you have a fan. From here, you'll take it to your glue ring, dip it into your glue, and you see how it's still kind of open? You wanna close your fan like this, and then dip it again in a little bit of glue, and then attach it. I don't gatekeep in my mentorship program. I show you exactly how I got booked, built a brand, and turned this into my full-time income. If that is your goal, apply in the description down below.